Hello everyone and welcome to another video in this System Design Fundamentals playlist where we talk about CI/CD, which stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Deployment. Now knowing about CI/CD is kind of optional if you're a developer, but if you want to become a full stack developer or if you want to become a DevOps engineer, this topic is definitely for you because CI/CD is definitely a part of the requirement. A lot of backend engineers that I have been in touch with are pretty familiar with how CI/CD works and how to implement pipelines on their own without the need of a dedicated SRE or a DevOps team. So let's start with how it actually works as a concept. So it is a part of your software development lifecycle. If you're familiar with this, great. In case you aren't, you start by coding, you build your source code, you test it out, it is then released. This is part of your development. As far as the operations part of this SDLC is concerned, you deploy this code, you make it go live where users then use it, you monitor the performance, and you plan the next set of changes to be made as an enhancement to your source code. Now, all of this except perhaps the coding part and maybe the planning part is what can be incorporated inside your CI/CD. So the goal of a CI/CD pipeline is to achieve this loop, this infinite loop that you see, efficiently and reliably. Because back in the day, what developers used to do was run manual commands or scripts to build, test, and release the code. Now, a lot of it can be automated by using tools that we will talk about in a minute. Let's start with CI part of the problem, continuous integration. So continuous integration, it basically means you want to check for new changes compatibility with the existing code base. What does that mean? That means that whatever change a developer adds, commits, pushes to a particular branch, the CI part of the pipeline is responsible for building it. It can run tests, it can run some security scans to ensure that first of all, while the source code is compiling, it is actually working, it is starting up. You run some tests to see if it isn't breaking some existing functionality, and of course some security scans to check whether some vulnerability has been added to this code base with this new change or not. Of course, all of these are set up optionally. You can choose to do one or more of these depending on what you want to establish in your pipeline. And something new that I've been also encountering, especially as AI advances, is AI code reviews. So whenever a developer pushes some code to the repository, AI some AI tools can review the code for you. It can suggest changes based on whatever you have just pushed. So this can also be a part of your CI part of the pipeline. So the basic use of a continuous integration process is to catch issues before the code is merged into the major branches like the production branch or the staging branch. And of course, it can also block merging if any check fails if you configure it to do so. So of course, this is very useful, especially if your team grows larger and larger and larger. It is essential to have certain checks in place. And even if you are a very skilled developer, you are prone to errors, which is why having checks like this is very important so that you don't accidentally end up exposing some API keys or making some unintended mistakes. Coming to CD, now earlier I mentioned that it stands for continuous deployment, but it can also stand for continuous delivery. That simply means putting your code out there into the world. But there is a difference between deployment and delivery. So, deployment, it basically means that your changes go live automatically if all the checks pass. Which checks pass? The checks that we defined over our continuous integration pipeline. So whichever checks you've added over there, if they pass, changes go live on their own. Whereas when it comes to continuous delivery, changes are simply kept available for release, but they need a final human approval. Somebody needs to go there and click the button to make those changes go live. So different teams, different companies follow different approaches around this, and that's something, of course, that's very subjective. But I figured that both you should know about both approaches before deciding what is best for you. Coming to which tools you can use to implement a CI/CD pipeline, you have at the very start some tools like GitHub Actions or GitLab CI. Now these, I'm sure you can guess, are done at your repository level, which is where your code base is pushed. So as soon as your code is pushed, you can have some security scans, some automated unit tests or integration tests, and even automated reviews that I just talked about. This is done as soon as your code is pushed, as soon as you raise a merge request or a pull request. And once that is done, once that code is merged into the branch that you're looking for, then something like Jenkins or code pipeline can take in this source code from your repository. Of course, you'll have to make all of these connections, but these tools allow you to do so very, very easily. So you can set up different steps in your pipeline that can be executed one after the other or in parallel, depending on the task. For example, they can take in the source code, as I mentioned. They will build this source code up into an executable file, or as your normal server is supposed to start, to check whether it is actually running or not. Then it can follow different approaches, and I've just written down some different approaches followed by different organizations. Like, you can dockerize your source code, and if you're not familiar with Docker as a concept, I highly recommend go check that out, because it is again very, very essential in this day and age of deployments, whether it is a Linux based environment or a Windows based environment or whatever else it may be. Then it can actually deploy your code base to wherever it is supposed to go live, whichever infrastructure you've provisioned, wherever your servers are. These pipelines can help you push this particular code you have built down there. And it can also do things like notifying the developers that a build has been pushed onto the server successfully, or that it failed in case some issue came up with the relevant error message. So these tools can help you achieve tasks like this. Coming to deploying, this is the next step of the process, right? Because this pipeline does one step after the other. But to actually deploy your code, you can use different cloud platforms, or you can have your own servers used as the machine on which your code is hosted. But of course, talking about a cloud-based environment, which is something you ultimately need in this day and age to make your app scalable, you can go for AWS, you can go for GCP, even Azure is there. And you can use these cloud-based platforms to deploy your services on some bare bones servers like EC2 instances, that's on AWS, or you can use Kubernetes, which you'll find inside EKS on Amazon, and there are some other, of course, variants on different platforms like GCP and Azure. Then, of course, you can host a Docker image of that particular source code. You can host on Vercel or Netlify, and these are basically your end steps, basically the steps that you need to do to actually ensure that your code goes live. So once all of these steps complete is when your code is actually available for other users to use. And that is as far as CI/CD pipelines go, as far as their introduction goes. Of course, there is an immense amount of depth to these concepts that I can't possibly cover in a single video. So if you're interested in a particular topic, do comment that in the comments box below, and I will be happy to make a video on that particular concept. Moving on, we have some deployment strategies that you should be familiar with should you ever get into a field like DevOps. First of which is called blue-green deployment. So let's say some of your code is already live. Blue-green deployment, what it does is that whenever a new change is released, it hosts it in a different environment that is not available for users right away. These two environments are basically your blue and green. So blue is what is serving the users currently, and green is the newer environment. Whenever all the checks passed, whenever all the servers are up and running, traffic is then switched to the green environment if everything is found to be healthy and stable. So this is the blue-green environment, and what it does is that it allows you to switch traffic when you're sure that everything will work fine and that you need a complete switch over instead of a partial one. Next is a canary-based deployment. A canary is another concept, another tool that will probably be covered in some other video in this playlist down the line. But what it does is that it allows you to release to a certain percentage of users only at first. So let's say if you have 4 servers running on a particular service, for a particular service, Canary will first deploy it to one server only. That is 25% of your users will effectively be using this new server, and the other three will be using the old one. Then after a certain amount of time, it will add more servers on the newer one and remove the same percentage from the older version. So this is how it does it, and as it finds stability, it will keep on rolling out to more users, and the developers have the option of pausing or promoting different versions based on what they see fit. So that is again a partial rollout. And then something similar is what is called a rolling deployment. So what it does is that it deploys your applications one by one. So it basically starts up one server. If it's healthy, it removes one server from the older setup. Then it adds another new server. It removes one of the older servers, and it's, as part of a rolling deployment, all of the changes keep going live. And as soon as you see that something is unstable, you can stop the process right there and there by reverting those changes in your repository and then releasing that instead. So this allows you for a safer release option. And of course, lastly, you can go for a hybrid strategy, which allows you to combine all of the above. So my personal preference is a rolling deployment with Canary integrated into it. But of course, you are free to choose something that fits your use case better. That's what I wanted to cover as far as CI/CD was concerned. If you want me to dive into a particular tool, let me know about it in the comments below. I'll be happy to again make a video for you about it. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one where we talk about another interesting system design concept. Thank you for watching.